I'd like to welcome you to the webinar today. This is the part of the Success Triad series. We're talking about Fiery View and Command Workstation. I'm going to give you a nice demonstration of the software and let you see how to use that and all sorts of good stuff there. With me today presenting this material for you is Todd Flowers from KMBS, and he'll be walking you through the bits of software. Before we get to that, I'd like to first turn things over to Bill Montez. You know him well, and without any further ado, I'm going to pass the mic to Bill, and he's going to get things kicked off today. So Bill, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate your help with this. Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Sorry about the mix-up here at the beginning, and we got it corrected. So I appreciate everybody being on the call. Again, I want to say thanks to Todd and his team over there for hosting this call. One of the things, as I kind of mentioned in the email that I sent to everybody, a suggestion came out of one of my area support calls to try to hold trainings for the DocSpot participants. And one of the things that came out of it to start off was to start off with a Fiery would be a good starting point. And we're going to start with a three-part series. Kicking off today with the Fiery and Command Workstation. Part 2 is going to be a spot on to capture your clients and create a custom corporate colors, and time is to be determined. And then also Part 3, we're looking at using the free form and how to start doing variable data, and that'll be at a time to be determined as well. Really, our main objective as a corporation is to grow revenue and profitability in the network. And as mentioned at the convention, to do that, we're really going to have to grow and maintain our shipping revenue and grow our other profit centers. And one of the biggest opportunities they have with our other profit centers is document services in the print. So with that said, currently right now, year to date, from a document services standpoint, it's not finalized yet, but year to date, we're at about 3% in the region, up 3% in document services. From September, last month, the region was up about 7%. So we're going in the right direction. And we're looking at, we're trying to get to that double-digit growth for your centers. With that said, Justin went through all the tools that are needed on the website. And also, too, your feedback is also critical in this as well. So in talking to your area support folks, franchise consultants, any feedback you have with this webinar, please get with them so they can feed it back to me as well, and we'll try to make the appropriate adjustments as needed moving forward. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and give it back to Justin and Todd, and we'll go from there.
So, all right, thank you so much, Bill. And yes, and now I'd like to turn it over to Todd Flowers. Todd, it's all yours.
Justin, thank you to everybody for coming in. I hope you get good information out of this. Justin, we got the next slide, so I can go through the. There you go. Thank you. What we're going to cover today, and the way I want to do this is to go through how to work with the software, what it can do, and then get straight to the questions. Originally, I'm talking with Bill. I thought we could get this done with the questions in about 40 minutes. So again, sorry for the confusion on the link. Obviously, you figured it out if you're here. So we're going to cover a new product, which is free from Fiery, called Fiery View. Then we're going to also cover how to basically work with the Command Workstation and go through the questions of what are all the different sections and how does it help you and how to archive files. And also use Command Workstation for simple page reordering. And also how to use it to look at how to bill for your customers. In other words, you'll be able to differentiate between black and white and color clicks through looking through Command Workstation. Now we are going to be working with Command Workstation 5. A lot of you may have Command Workstation 4. You can download both Fiery View and Command Workstation 5 off of EFI.com. That's the company who makes Fiery, EFI. Again, EFI.com. So that's how you can go and download if you have Command Workstation 4 and, of course, Fiery View. What I'm going to start out with is looking at Fiery View. I believe Justin's getting it to where everybody can see my computer. Justin, is that working correctly, where everybody can see my desktop?
Yes, it is.
So this icon here, Command Workstation 5, click on it when you want to get into Command Workstation. Here is the Fiery View. Again, I'm going to start with Fiery View, which is a free add-on. You can open up Fiery View as an application, and basically what Fiery View is, it is a, I like to call it kind of a visual print driver or print driver for dummies. Not meaning that for a slight there, it's just very user-friendly. As most of you will know, when you're using our print drivers, Fiery print drivers, some of it's confusing. How does a booklet look? Or did I get the staple in the right spot? If you hire a new associate and they're not used to working with print drivers, this is probably going to help you out a whole lot. So, I opened up Fiery View, and I'm going to take a PDF. It can take PDF, PowerPoint files, Excel files. It will not take a publisher file. Basically drop this in here, and what this application does at the end of the day is you hit File, Print from this application, and you can see your document in action. See what it looks like before you hit Print, so you don't waste any clicks. Right now I'm running it in demo mode, which means it has every option here on the right where you've got print on both sides, print pages per sheet, and the orientation. This file is set up more or less for a booklet. Go through and I'll flip the pages down here at the bottom, and you can actually see again what the document's going to look like, and on there that will save a lot of time, hopefully. You can change it to where you see the staple. I'm going to do a corner staple, and it flips it. Pages. Again, all you do is hit File and then Print, which is blanked out because, again, I'm running it in demo mode. File, Print, and it goes right to your Fiery. When you load Fiery View for the very first time, you load it like any other application, accept the license, and say, yes, I agree. Again, it's a free application. Then it will go out on your network and find your Fiery for you and log in. And let's say you don't have a Fiery with a punch on it. Well, the punch option you see here will not be available. So you won't get confused. That's the nice thing about it. And as you can see as I run through the document, how it's changing the look where the punch is. Also, the nice thing is you can hit the color button here, change it from color and black and white, as you see it here on the screen. You can also change the orientation of the document. I'm changing it there. Show you navigate through the pages. Well, the one nice thing about this product also is you can look at this in a thumbnail view, to where if you go right down here to the bottom corner here and you see where it says thumbnail view, bottom right of the screen, click on that and then you're going to see a thumbnail view of it. From then you can do simple page reordering in the file. Another thing I have store owners tell me is from time to time they'll have a client come in and say, hey, I had a client come in and they have an Excel file, a PowerPoint file, and a PDF. They want to put it all together. Well, you can drag and drop all the different documents in Fiery View, minus Publisher. Don't forget that. And then you could, again, do the page reordering between the files and combine it as one document. The other nice thing about this is you can go in as a single page application. They give you all color documents and say they want the cover printed in color and the rest of it in black and white. You can simply go here and pick that page and change it to black and white, and therefore get the job out properly and apply it once, so you don't have to charge them a color click or what have you. You can also save templates. Let's say you have repeat clients that come in, and you can save templates, jobs, and here's some preset templates that they've got in there for you. But you can save a job as a template. Another interesting thing about Fire Review is, let's say one of your heavy clients downloads Fire Review. Tell them to do that. Then they can pull their documents in there and organize it the way they want to, and then save the Fire Review session, which will hold all the files and the content. Send it to you, put it on a thumb drive, what have you. You open it up, and it's designed and organized, rather, the way that they wanted that document to print out. It also can be used as an educational tool, and if you think about it, a way to kind of capture that client saying that, hey, my Fire Review works with your software. A nice way to maybe capture that. You can also change the duplex. You know, the driver, it says duplex, print on both sides. Or disable it and do single here when I'm changing it. So again, it has very plain language. It's not nearly as confusing as a print driver. I'm sure the first time you tried to print a booklet or had one of your associates who weren't used to our print drivers, you may have had a problem. So this makes it easier. I think the product is really just a home run. You have ring bound. You can show that. Back to the non-thumbnail view. Pages and make sure staples. So that's how Fire Review works. What I think I'd like to do now, Justin, is maybe open it up to the group for. We got two products here. We've got the Fire Review that we're going over, and then the Command Workstation. So I'm thinking maybe we just go ahead and get some questions out of the way about Fire Review.
All right, great. So it will take any questions you have on Fire Review. Once again, for those of you with a microphone or on telephone, just raise your hand. As I already see, there are a couple, so we appreciate that. Otherwise, write your questions into me, and I will read them on your behalf. So go ahead and use that send note feature. Choose my name, Justin Fuchs. I will read the question on your behalf, and then we'll get you an answer. So Todd, leave your screen up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I just had a private note sent to me, and please send the questions to Justin so we can keep track of it. But I just had a question from Ken Santo at 5485. Thank you, Ken. To go over Greenbooks, a good point, and thank you for reminding me of that. The Greenbooks is a nice way it's a way to stay green, and also basically what it does is it will change the booklet size. So if you're used to doing if you ever done church bulletins, they're going to want it on an 8.5 by 11, not an 11 by 17 folded. So you've got some save sets in here for full size and half size, and then the mini portrait where it changes the orientation, if you see there, or the mini landscape. So in other words, instead of folding an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper into the big booklet, it's going to show you how it folds it from an 11 by 17 sheet of paper to an 8.5 by 11, then folded like a church bulletin. Does that answer your question, Ken? You can send me a private note and say yes. Any other questions?
All right. I have two raised hands out there. So let's first go to UPS store 3214, which is Ben Saltz and Company. So 3214, you have the floor.
Hi, Todd. Are you there?
Just go ahead and ask your question. Unfortunately, I have to switch the mic, so Todd will answer you once you're done.
If somebody brings us a document that they've created on a Mac, are we going to be able to use this to print it?
Okay, well, as long as if they create on a Mac, that's fine. If they give you a PDF from a Mac, it will still open it. You won't have any problems. That's your question. whatever file format the file review will take, it doesn't matter if it comes from a Mac or a PC. It won't take Publisher. It will take PowerPoint, PDF, Excel files. It's not going to take a Quark file or anything like that, but it will take those main file formats. And what we'll do after the webinar, there's a, instead of you downloading it off of EFI.com, we can send out the frequently asked questions, which will have those file formats listed for you, but those are the most popular that people work with. So the general answer to the question is yes.
Okay, and if you needed any follow-up information on that, 3214, just raise your hand again. All right, I have a raised hand, Penny Anderson. I see your hand is raised, but because the way you're logged in, I cannot put your audio on. If you could press *1 on your phone, you could help me out, and then we'll get you on the air. There you go. And hopefully this is Penny. You've got the floor. Go ahead.
Hi. My question has to deal with moving the pages around. I had a customer that brought in a document that she wanted to have printed as a booklet, and I wanted to be able to saddle stitch it. But I was having a difficult time manipulating the pages in the thumbnail section to get it in the correct order. Every time I kept moving a page over, it would move other stuff. It kept moving the pages over, and I couldn't figure it out. So I ended up sending it to a graphic designer just to put it in page order. Can you show me how to do that?
Okay, I'm assuming that it was all 8.5 by 11 documents, and it looked much like what I'm looking at here in a thumbnail view.
And hang on a second,
Question.
let me just go back to Penny. Penny? Penny?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, now we'll go back to Todd.
So I'm assuming, Penny, I'm going to try to duplicate the issue and see if there's a software bug there that maybe we can report to EFI, but I'm rotating the pages here, and I'm assuming you were probably trying to go to Green Books. That's my assumption. Can you pass that back over to Penny?
Yes, I was trying to make, I didn't realize that that's what Green Book did, but yeah, that's basically what I was trying to do. And then I needed to put it in print order so that when I printed it on my 452, that I could, have it folded and saddle stitched. So it'd come in the correct page order.
Okay, the Green Books is very simple. It basically forces your hand in what size. See where I changed it to the mini portrait there, and then it actually combines the pages here, if you see where I'm moving my mouse, to how they should be. Where I think your confusion may have been is you couldn't change the page order. I'm assuming this, and I think we may have hit it here. See where I already did the page ordering for you here? If you had it in a booklet mode, well then if you wanted to change the page order, you would go to full size, and then you would have to change the page order here, and then go to a mini booklet maybe, and then it will change it back. But you can't go in and change the mini portrait because it's already done the imposition for you. In other words, because it's laying out the two images on one page, or for that matter, actually 4 images on one page, front and back. You think that helps you out, Penny?
Yeah, that helps me out a lot. Now I know what to do. Thank you.
Any other questions on file review?
Todd, I have no further questions here.
Okay. So what we're going to move on to now is Command Workstation. And the Command Workstation 5 logo is here. It's usually set up as a shortcut on your desktop. If not, you just go to Start, Programs, then go to Fiery, which on this computer we've got a lot of applications here, but go to Programs. You would go to Fiery here, and you're going to see your different Fiery tools that are available to you. But again, you can just set it up as a shortcut if you want to get in there. Some folks will have it set up in the startup items in their computer. I don't really recommend that because then you got to turn it off every time you turn on your computer. And I actually recommend having the tools and all the print drivers loaded on your back office computer and not on your POSs. The way you log in here is. By the way, if you have Command Workstation 4, you can sign up for our Learning Center. 3-part series on Command Workstation 4, older version. Take that 3-part series, which basically covers. So, right here, we have a number of Firies here because I'm in a demo room here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm going to click on this particular Fiery. I've already logged in. It's not asking me for a password. Folks are confused. If you have a login there, you can log in as operator. You can also log in as a guest and administrator. Operator and guest do not have passwords required. The administrator, if you want to log in that way, which is fine, gives you more controls and will actually help you out with the 2 second classes we're going to have on Command Workstation, dealing with spot on and variable data printing. The password for that is Fiery.1, not DOT, but period. The number 1, capital F-I-E-R-Y. Capital F is only lowercase I-E-R-Y. Fiery.1. So with that, when you look at your Command Workstation here, it looks a little daunting because you've got all these sections. What do all these mean? How does this help me in my workflow? First off, you can see where your consumables lie and what paper's in your trays, where they're at, which is working from the back office. But what it does for you, think of the Command Workstation as a traffic cop, a lot more for your workflow. And part of the reason of why to have a Fiery, and I'll back up for just a second, is Fiery controller, when you process the files or rip it, which means that little light that's blinking on your copier when you hit print and then finally the paper comes out, the Fiery is mathematically 2.5 times faster than a normal standard print controller. It has much, has all these tools with Command Workstation and spot on and variable data printing. So, you're going to get your work out faster, basically what I'm saying. There's other tools. So, in the print driver, and I'm going to show you this here in a Fiery print driver first, you can drag, in the new Command Workstation 5, but not in 4, you can drag and drop PDFs into this window here, drop it in, and it's in Command Workstation. You see there, that's the brochure that just popped up right here. And we're in the held jobs. That's one nice new thing about Command Workstation. So you don't have to go through the print driver, and then you can right-click on that job, go down to Properties, and then you've got what you're familiar with. You've got a Fiery print driver here. From here, you can do whatever you need to do with the file. You can select your tray. If you have hole punching available, you can select your hole punch. That's telling me, just like in a print driver, I had the orientation of the file set up improperly. Do you want to change it? Then you say OK. Anything you're used to doing in your Fiery print driver, you can do just by dragging, dropping into there. Okay, Calpesh just asked me to speak a little louder. Thank you, Calpesh. So, anyway, you can do that with the Command Workstation. But let me get back to the sections. when you're actively printing a job, you'll see it up here while it's processing, and you'll see it running. Now, after the job is printed, you will have a queue, and normally the Fiery defaults on about 10 jobs is the default that stay in the printed queue. So if you wanted to go back and reprint this particular job, you can right-click on it, hit your properties, and then start printing from there. You can also, while you're printing jobs, while they're in the printing queue up here, you can click on one job below and move it up the print stream. Hopefully your shop's busy enough to where you've maybe got a customer coming in and he's waiting on that file to come out, and you can move it ahead of what you've already sent to the Fiery to be processed. The other thing you can do here in the Archive tab, nothing's been archived. Let's say you've got a repeat job and you've set it up and it's a little difficult, and it was a booklet job and you just want to keep that job, and you know you're going to do it every quarter. But you can leave it archived in this tab here, and I'll show you how to do that. So you have that repeat client, and you have to do this with a ripped and held job. And that means that you can right-click on that job and do a process and hold. And that rasterizes the image, not trying to get too technical, but basically you're making it so that you can archive it. So I'm going to do a process and hold on this one. You see here where it's processing through the command workstation, but no paper is going to come out of your copier. Now I can take that job that's been done, and I've already printed it before, and I can right-click on it here, and I can archive the job. I'm going to say Server Internal, which is fine. That's where you want it because it's going on the Fiery. That way it never gets deleted by accident. You have to go into the Archive tab, and there's your job. You can leave it there. Maybe your hard drive's got too much on it and you want to put a couple jobs on the Fiery hard drive. Also, you can preview in the new Command Workstation 5 under Job Summary. But you can only preview the jobs that have been processed. So here is the file that we've been using, where you can actually flip through the pages and make sure you've got everything in there, which is very nice. If you have multiple Firies in your shop, the new version of Command Workstation 5 can actually switch between two different Firies. I know that's very few, but some of you may have that situation. So you can basically log into two Firies here. Here's a second Fiery in the demo room, and I like to kind of call this the Rubik's Cube, where it will flip and it's looking at that other Fiery connected to the other copier. Now I've been doing a lot of right-clicking within the Fiery Command Workstation, but you also have the big buttons to where you can change things. Here, you can print. I can take this job that's already held. I'll say print here, and that's going to start printing there. And you may be able to hear my copier that's in the background starting to print, which is printing that brochure. One other thing I'm going to show you how to do is how to get the job in there. Instead of dragging and dropping, if you do have Command Workstation 5, or 4 rather, you can open up file itself, just like you normally would, go into the properties of your Fiery print driver, print, I'm going to find the Fiery driver here. Go to the properties. Here's a little slow. Once you get into the properties, you can go into the Info tab. And in this particular Fiery driver, it's called Print Queue. all your Fiery drivers are probably set up where it says print queue action. That means just go and print. Then a print and hold means it's going to print one copy out and then hold it in the command workstation in a ripped and held state so that you can print out more. In other words, like a proof print. And then process and hold, it does exactly what we did before, to where it will process it and hold it. You can preview it in the Fiery, and then make sure the file's okay. So that's how you get from the print driver to the command workstation if you have version 4 and you can't just drag and drop a new command workstation 5. One of the last little tricks I'm going to show you with command workstation is you can do what you were able to do with Fiery View. In this scenario, I think it's best if you think, okay, let's say a client calls you up and may have had this happen before. Hey, that page number 5 from that job you did for me on Wednesday, can you put that in the job I just sent you? And maybe you don't have the original file format anymore. Maybe you archived it, or you still have it in your printed jobs scenario. So what I'm going to show you is with command workstation how you can do page reordering. So I'm going to take this job here, which has to be in a held state, where you've got that little, if I put my mouse over it, see where it says ripped, and it's got that little arrow there? That means it's been processed and held to where you can do this. This job has only been spooled or sent over. If you look there. So I'm going to right-click on it, or you can use the big buttons. There's a preview button up top. Preview it. And now I got a preview of that job. Then let's say he wanted this, in this scenario, with just looking at 1, you want to take page 7, pull it 7 and 6. You look there, then you can drop it in there and change the page ordering within the job in a ripped and held state. Now if we go back to the scenario I was talking, he needed that one page from the other job done. And all you need to do, if you've got it in a ripped and held state, another ripped one here, preview the next one. Now you've got the next preview. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I want page 2 to be page 3, move it over, drop it into that job. Now you've got that different page. And it's kind of nice that I picked a document that's not the same size. One caveat, let's say the job you're trying to get out was a corner staple portrait, 8.5 by 11 document. Once you've ripped and held the documents, all the properties of did I want it duplex or stapled or things of that nature are held within that job. So in this scenario, you'd have to call back the client and say, listen, your page size is wrong. I can't make that page 2. I might have to resize the document or something of that nature. But let's say the document was the right size and he did want it corner stapled in this make-believe job. Then you would close out the job document into. Says the job has been modified. Do you want to save the changes? I would say yes. And I would say yes, I do want to replace it. Been replaced. Do not delete the job that you pulled from. I know for a fact in Command Workstation 4, it is really just a software link between the two jobs. And I'm 99% sure it works the same way in Command Workstation 5. So for right now, I wouldn't delete that. And I just got confirmation from that from one of my cohorts that's sitting next to me here. So do not, in other words, do not delete the job that you pulled from. You can also go in and let's say you've done that job and you want it out. You can hit the delete button here and delete it. Again, we're tipping our toe in Command Workstation. The next 2 classes are going to show you how to deal with Pantone colors and also do variable data within Command Workstation and the tools. The last thing I want to show you here is the logs button. If you look here, let's say you're doing a mixed black and white and color job, which is normally like a booklet where some of the pages are in color and some of them are in black and white. So if you hit the logs button here, which doesn't really hold the job, but it holds the information from the job, it holds mathematically 9,999 jobs. Now it has the date and time here, the job title, the print status, the user, and if you right-click here, you can add and delete all these items that are available to see. And you can add in, I want to see total number of sheets, you know, the size of the job. In this one, we've already done it in this demo room where I can see total number of pages printed. Then I can also see total number of black pages, total number of color pages, right here. And then total numbers of copies of that job. So, you know, sometimes you have a scenario where you're printing out and you're not sure, instead of going up to the meter and making sure you're getting all the black and white clicks and the color clicks in the correct order according to the document, you can say to your customer, well, sir, you've obviously designed this in 4-color process black. You see where here I'm getting a color click on a black and white page. That may cause some questions, but it's a nice way to look through the log and make sure you're keeping track of the clicks between jobs, not just when you look at it every month and then turn in your click count to whoever your vendor is. Those are the main things I wanted to show on Command Workstation. I would call this Command Workstation Basic, where I can show you how to navigate into the Command Workstation, use it, and what are the some tools available as a what we covered more like a traffic cop, page reordering, and able to look at the job log and see the difference between the black and white and color pages. So I'll turn it over for any questions now.
All right, once again, everyone, if you do have any questions, please either raise your hand if you have a mic or write your questions into me. I will read them for you. First question is a simple one, but could you please, for the group, explain in simple terms what ripped actually is?
No problem, and a very common question, and I apologize if I take it for granted. I work on this all the time, and I can't fix my car that well, so I don't have any hobbies. But RIP stands for Raster Image Process. What actually happens when you hit File Print to any printer, whether it be a copier or a little printer you have at your home, it rips the file down to actually a TIFF file format so that the printer can print it out. What it means in a more layman's terms, it means that it's made ready to print. It's really something behind the scenes, and the only reason I mention it is so you understand how to preview jobs within Command Workstation, and you know you have to do a process and hold to be able to do that, and that's really the point to it.
Okay, next question I have in is kind of a long one, so bear with me as I try to read through it. I think you went over this, but it can be a source of unending misery if you forget. When you want to combine jobs, the job print properties have to be the same. If that is not true, then please tell me how to get around it. For example, I send 2 single-page PDFs to the held queue. Then I wanted to combine them and print as double-sided. To do this, I actually had to send each file as double-sided, even though they only have to be 1 page, and they would combine. Todd?
Okay, Justin,
Not sure if Todd is.
I'm here.
Yep.
Okay, Justin, unfortunately I caught the very beginning of the question and the very last portion of the question. Is that in a typed form where you can show it to me?
Yeah, let me send this over to you. Bear with me. Here's a written version for you, Todd.
Just for the unending misery portion, if you're getting into print and you're going to have that pain of figuring out how to get some of these jobs out, but it will be very profitable at the end of the day, hopefully. But in the print properties, will be the same. That's not true. Now, the print properties have to be the same. If you're combining jobs, like I said before, if you're combining jobs within the command workstation, where I think this question's coming from, once it's ripped and held, or processed and held, so you can preview it and do the page reordering, you must have both of the print properties set up in the same fashion. Even something simple like duplex or corner staple, you have to have that done, because once it's processed, you're doing the page reordering, you have to have it that way. Does that answer the question?
And please just type in, let us know if that clarified your question or if you need us to explain further. And Todd, while we're waiting for a response on that, the last question I had in is a simple one. How do you correct the time on Command Workstation, as in adjust the clock?
Well, I haven't done that in a long time. First off, I believe you would have to log in as administrator and then go to server, where I'm going to right now. And you'll have to go in there, let's see here. There's a way to do it. You change the time within Command Workstation. I'm assuming the question's coming where all my date and times are kind of messed up with my Command Workstation. I believe you go here to the Preferences, General, Display. I've actually never tried this in Command Workstation 5. See if I can find this real quick. If not, we will get the answer back to you. We won't take up everybody's time. I believe you have to go into Server Setup. I'm going to punt on that one because I don't want to take a lot of time. We just have to find the right niche within Command Workstation to change the time. And Justin, do we know what store number that came from?
Yes, we do. I can send that to you later, Todd. And again, if there are any additional questions, please get them in now, and Todd will be more than happy to get you the answers as best we can. And I heard a hand go up. And it looks like Penny Anderson. Penny, I'm going to go ahead and give you the mic again. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Okay, so where do I go to get more instruction on this? There's a lot of the machine I just purchased, my 452, allows me to use all these, fire review and stuff, and so I'm not very familiar with Command Workstation, but I want to know, where can I get more information so I can start from the beginning?
Well, attending the class, this class is a good start. EFI has some tutorials that are free online for Command Workstation. They also have some paid-for classes that are, I think, $50 a session. But more importantly, what I can do for you to make it easier, because quite frankly, the EFI website, as far as finding online or tools to use or manuals, is a little hard. They're very good at their technology. But like a lot of technology companies, and I'm not knocking on EFI, they're a very good company and make great products and support us very well. Like a lot of technology companies, sometimes getting that basic training is a little difficult to find. So, and I talked with Bill about this earlier, we're also going to send out some links after the call of where you can go in and say, okay, here are some little some manuals or some training that you can look at from EFI directly of how to do different things in the Fiery. But again, if you attend the next two classes, I'm going to show you some more things with Command Workstation that you can use to get your work out. But we will have some link out, or you can just go to EFI.com, like I said earlier, and hunt and peck around yourself. But we will send out some of those links.
All right. Once again, any last questions? We'll be more than happy to address them now while we have Todd willing and able on the air. And I just want to remind everyone, Todd hinted at this, but we have recorded, or we are in the process of recording this webinar, and we will post it to your Learning Center as soon as we conclude it. So you'll be able to come back and review the material that you're watching today at your leisure. So Todd, I do not see any additional questions coming in at this time. And that's a lie. One just came in while I was saying that. So let's address this last question, and that is, I was not able to upgrade the EFI 5.20. How can I do that?
Question back at the question. Did you download it and it would not link up to your Fiery? Is that what happened?
Correct, yes.
And were you using Command Workstation before?
No.
If it was not linking to your Fiery, most likely your Fiery will need a small firmware upgrade so it sees 5. That's the most likely case. So I would place a service call to your service provider and report the problem. And I've seen it happen more with Fiery View on some of the 4-year-old Firies where they had to update the firmware on that because it is a new product, but I would think that would be the case.
Okay, another question just came in, and that is, what is the VDP?
That's something we're going to cover in the third session. VDP stands for Variable Data Printing, and basically what you do with the Command Workstation and your print driver is you print a master file to the Fiery. Then you do a traditional mail merge using what's called freeform, and we're going to go over that in the third session, which is very simple. And so that you can lay down, let's say, addresses on a stagnant form. Remember when I did the preview and the ripped and held jobs? Well, so you're going to preview that thing, that heavy-duty graphic file, or the master page, and then be able to print out addresses so you don't have to do labels, so it's a much more professional-looking job. And as a byproduct, if you've ever tried to do a large mail merge, a traditional mail merge between Word and Excel, so to speak, it can really slow down your computer. It slows down your copier to 25% of your rated speed. A lot of the stores that get good at variable data printing, and I had a note from one of the store owners early on that attended one of my classes, and she told me that she's now doing a lot of variable data. It's normally a more profitable job also, and you get more clicks out of it. But VDP in its simplest answer is variable data printing.
All right, getting a couple more questions coming in. In a follow-up to the upgrading driver issue, comment was made that his Fiery is a year old and the tech just upgraded the firmware 10 days ago. So I'm not sure if you have any additional insight to offer, Todd.
Well, the question back then, when you've downloaded Command Workstation 5, did it give you any errors of it couldn't load Java or anything like that?
Just waiting for a response. And I have another question that had come in. I'm not sure if we want to get too much into tech shooting here, but this question is trying to load the new Fiery View. I'm receiving a error that MS Word is open, and to close it to continue. They do not have MS Word applications open, and they have everything closed, but the Fiery View will still not install. Have you ever heard anything like this?
Have not. Justin, can we get the store number on that, and I'll have maybe a representative from EFI give them a call, because I've never heard of that.
Absolutely. I will collect all this data and give it to you, as well as the other problem that we're having with the firmware. So hopefully we'll get you all the support you need at the conclusion of this webinar. That being said, are there any additional questions on anything we have seen here today while we're have the demonstration up and available to you? Again, Fiery View or Command Workstation if we need to go back. All right, I do not see any additional questions here, Todd, so if you have anything on your end.
Real quick, we may want to pass it over to Bill so he can make some closing comments. When you were talking about, to let everybody know it's going to be recorded, we're putting this on the BizHub Learning Center. I know I see a lot of familiar names here. And I've got a question here. Can I go watch this at MBE Learning Center? Not on MBE Web. It's going to be on the Konica Minolta BizHub Learning Center, where we have all of our webinars. So you can go back, and if you'd like, some of the follow-up that we'll do is we'll have maybe Bill send out the little BizHub Konica Minolta Learning Center form, which is absolutely no charge. And you can go back and review this webinar along with a lot of other webinars we have and information on how to get print jobs out. Not a sales pitch. There's a lot of good information. We have over 2,000 centers registered, and I think last count was 10 or 15,000 webinars launched. So I'd pass it over to Bill, and I want to thank everybody for attending, and I hope you got some good info out of it, and I look forward to the next two sessions.
All right, thank you, Todd. And here is Bill.
I just want to say thanks everybody for being on the call, and thanks to Todd and his team. I think this was a big help in really starting to try to drive our print business, not only from a store perspective but from a network perspective. Part two, using the spot on, as Todd mentioned, we're going to plan on doing that at some point. I'm thinking anywhere from 6 weeks, but we got to keep in mind that peak's coming up as well. So I think that this Thursday is a pretty good day. If you guys have any recommendations of better times or days, just go ahead and feed that information to me via email. Again, sorry for the hiccup at the beginning. We'll make sure that doesn't happen again, and we'll go from there. But with that said, I appreciate everybody's time, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, and thank you so much, Bill and Todd, for being here to help us out with that. Thanks, Todd. That was a great demonstration. Once again, look for that on the Learning Center if you have access. If you don't, please go ahead and get it. Give us about a little over 5 business days. We'll get that edited and posted. You can come back and review that as you wish. With that, that does conclude the webinar today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us and learn a little more about Fiery. With that being said, feel free to close the software out at any time and have yourselves a great day.